Hello everyone, welcome to episode 92 of FPL BlackBox, and here to prove that he's not just a pretty face, it's Gianni on BlackBox. Oh my god, what's happening? How you doing, mate?
Hello, mate. How are you? Very good to be here. I didn't realise you were episode, would you say 92?
92.
Gosh, I remember you and Mark in your first ever episode. So yeah, you guys have come a long way, and I'm delighted that after 92 episodes, I finally got the call up. I've obviously been a massive fan of the show for a very long time.
Yeah, but there's already some people in the chat saying that you're not a stats man. I don't think that's true. I mean, we do the Gianni team selection every week over on Scout, and you bust out some stats now and then. You're not totally against it.
No, not at all. I think to be a good FPL manager, you need to appreciate stats and eye test. I think I've probably always been more heavily an eye test manager, but as the years have gone on, certainly with my work with Scout, like I've more and more taken an interest in data and stats. So yeah, definitely need both. So yeah, interesting observation there, but I think probably we all need to take on board both eye test and stats.
You can't avoid them these days, and we've got some really interesting stats on this episode. I mean, there's lots of decisions to be made, transfers being made. We've got the double game week back to back. For those who have still got their triple captain, when to use it, you don't have yours, so you can offer an unbiased opinion on that. For anyone wondering, Mark is not here. So I was on holiday for the last Black Box. I was on a beach in Mexico. Mark is in Bulgaria. I'm not sure what he's doing in Bulgaria, but that's where he is. I think it's with work. Hopefully he'll be listening. But yeah, hopefully we'll be reunited next week. But yeah, thanks to him as always. He helped build this Black Box as he always does. So
I hope he comes back with a better tan than you, mate.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? The only reason I look remotely tan is because I've got my lights on like the golden setting. But
oh, nice.
Yeah, I was even using tanning oil. You know, I bought tanning oil to try. I just don't tan. Just go red. Unlike you, I bet you go bronze, like a beautiful Italian.
No comment. No comment. See Instagram for more.
Very good. Right, before we get into the episode, a word from our sponsor. As always, thank you to NordVPN, who are sponsoring this episode. Gianni, I want to ask you about VPNs. Do you know what a VPN is?
I only know what a VPN is because of this stream. Like NordVPN have obviously like supported you guys for a fair few shows, and I must admit I've heard you and Mark talking about it and the benefits and gone, yeah, I should probably get on that. So it's definitely on my radar now. But as a technophobe, like I am always a couple of years behind. So I have no doubt in the next 12 to 24 months I'll probably jump on board. Like I just bought an iPhone the other day. I bought the 11. I bought the 11. Like I wouldn't, that's just what I do.
What were you using before? Like a brick.
I was on an 8 plus, I think. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. For anyone who isn't aware, Gianni is probably the most technologically incompetent person I've ever met in my life. I mean, you have run a stream before and hosted a stream before, and you used to do the watch-alongs and stuff, but. Yeah, it's always a bit of drama, isn't it, when you take the reins?
You had a lot of calls ahead of those streams going, as I'm panicking, I still don't know what button to press. And you're like, I've set everything up. You just click like start streaming on OBS.
Those are the days. Anyway, if you're not familiar with what a VPN is, NordVPN will help you hide your IP address, which helps you increase your privacy online. You can connect to different countries online. So if you're interested in another country's Netflix, for example, or Colombo, as Mark and I always talk about, you can do that. The best thing about it is probably you can the protection you get on public Wi-Fi, so stop people stealing your data and everything when you're logging into cafes and coffee shops and all that, and you can secure all of your devices, PC, phones, your new iPhone, your tablets, and everything on your kind of household. Why Nord? It's the fastest VPN on the planet. It's the best reviewed VPN out there. It's got 24/7 support and a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. So if you're interested, you can grab your exclusive deal through us. Just go to nordvpn.com/scouts. You get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan and a bonus gift. It's completely risk-free, as I mentioned, with a 30-day free trial. So yeah, check it out. Enjoy it. Thanks to Nord for sponsoring this stream. Do check them out, especially if you don't use any kind of online security. It's important to make sure you are protected online. Right, let's get into some fantasy football. Let's start with the game week just gone. We've got to start with Mark, I'm afraid. Massive score for him, 97 points.
Yeah.
He got a fair bit of jam. We'll talk about that in a sec. Edison with 6, Ake with 1, Trippier with 8, Estupinian off his bench with 9 points and the 2 assists. Of course, for the gone to Spain, Matt Doherty thinks he's Kieran Trippier. Gone off.
That's a funny one, isn't it?
Is.
I mean, Doherty, I just thought when I saw Estupiñán on Mark's bench, I was like, Doherty, if he doesn't start, he'll come on. We know what Conte does with those wing backs, but obviously linked with the move away. And yeah, he stayed benched. And 9, that's a huge player to come off your bench.
It is. He could easily have come on for 1 point, and that's
Yeah.
maybe Mark's luck is turning a bit.
He deserves it, doesn't he? He's got some credit in the bank there.
He does. Yeah. He had the double Arsenal midfield of Odegaard and Saka both returning. He's still got Salah, who disappointed again with 3 points, and Rashford, and then Haaland captain, Mitrovic, and look at this, Eddie Nketiah, 13 points, massive. So yeah, really good week for Mark.
He has, I mean, the triple Arsenal attack there is lovely. I think going into that double in 23, if we're all looking at the best 3 Arsenal players to go for, I think Mark's got them all, and I think it is triple Arsenal attack. Now, sure, loads of us are going to have Ben White or Gabriel, and that's fine, and you complement it with 2 attackers, but I think Mark's played that really well, and I know he's big on Arsenal. But Salah, I mean, this is the week 100. I'm 100% confident. I've not spoken to him. Mark's going to be selling Salah this week, surely.
You think it's an easy move for him, Salah to Fernandes, something like that. I imagine that's locked in. I mean, his team looks good and well set up for the doubles. Like you say, he's got the 3 Arsenal already. He's got the 3 City as well. I mean, he can't move for De Bruyne, for example, because he's got Ake and Ederson. Which probably makes Fernandes even more attractive. But yeah, I look at Mark's team and think it's well balanced. It's got all the good players for the doubles coming up. Yeah, Shaw's on the bench as well. Obviously didn't play, but yeah, I think he's looking good.
Yeah, he's well set. He doesn't have the Haaland Kane double up, which works for him because it then allows you to have Nketiah and someone like Mitro, who I think is going to be playing in the blank. So yeah, I wonder if he'll hold Mitro long term or if he'll look to maybe go to a shorter term punt there, but. Yeah, he's well set up.
He is. Yep, almost the perfect team, says Mandolin Tudor. He'll like to hear that. He likes to feel vindicated. Me next. I got 87. I did something a bit exciting, Gianni.
You did. I text you to say he has just scored. I'm at the stadium at Leicester. He's actually scored and you were like, really?
I know. It was great for 24 hours until it all went tits up. Anyone wondering, listening on the pod, I did captain Matoma. I was fueled by tequila. There was a 5-hour delay, so the match started at quite early in the morning. So I didn't have, the deadline was early in the morning anyway, so I didn't get the jitters and change it. Well, I got 87, Kepa in goal with 9. I know some people played Ward over him. I think because I was in a bit of a bubble in Mexico, I couldn't believe people had gone for Ward over Kepa.
It was my most asked question on my deadline stream, Kepa or Ward. Everyone was considering, really torn. And for me, I kept saying I didn't get everything right that game week, but I said to everyone, it's not even a discussion.
No.
You Leicester? No.
Don't mess about. Kepa is a good keeper. He's getting good bonus points. He's making lots of saves. He's doing all the things that we've seen. That's why I bought him, because I was against him, right? But I watched those games. I thought, this is a keeper who's gonna hoover up points. So you just don't bench him. I'm sorry, I would have said that. Anyway, it's not very helpful for anyone that did. I got the double Newcastle defence, which has been really, really good for me, actually. Trippier and Botman. Shaw with 0. De Bruyne, an assist, but still disappointing. Kulusevski, disappointing. Hope for something against Fulham. Rashford, Odegaard, Matoma captain, which it was a beautiful goal. Just, he's full of goals in that. And yeah, like I said, I was absolutely over the moon. It made my holiday until I woke up the next morning and Haaland had scored a hat-trick.
61 minutes, I think, was all he needed.
Oh, dear. Yeah. So in the end, it was only 7 points. Difference between them, but it is annoying, the differential finally comes off, and yeah, you get punished for it anyway. And then Kane with 6. So yeah, good week for me. Green Arrow. I've halved my rank in the last few weeks, so I'm on the up, which is nice.
Well played on Newcastle double defence, mate, because you went Botman when a lot, including myself, decided to go for a Man City defender, and loads went Stones or Ake or Akanji, and yeah, I think City had a double game week, but Ake's had a 1 and a 2, Botman's had 2 6s, and Botman just looks nailed for those 6 pointers. Newcastle
are funny, aren't they? Because it seems too good to be true. They can't just keeping clean sheets, but they just are.
Yeah,
so you kind of just go with it. Yeah, exactly. And again, I think because I was in this bubble, a lot of people were getting freaked out by Brighton and Newcastle players because they're worried about this blank coming up in 25. And honestly, I didn't even really think about stuff like that. I just bought in the players. So yeah, kind of shows sometimes you can overthink things. No, us, we don't overthink in this game.
Yeah, and there's sometimes points there to be had straight away. Like 25 is great, and there's going to be some blanks, and we should err on the side of caution when going double Newcastle defence or investing heavily in Brighton. But if Brighton have got great fixtures and Newcastle are keeping clean sheets for fun, then get those points now and then think about possibly needing an extra 4-point hit. But the likes of Matoma and Botman feel so obvious now.
They do. Yep, absolutely. Delia says drink every time I say Mexico. I'm assuming it's just Delia playing this. Mexico. Excellent. Your game week. You did the worst of the three of us. 77 points. A red arrow for you. Kepa in goal. You played him. Good man. Trippier with 8. Ake with 1. Ben White, you went White over Shaw, and it made absolutely no difference whatsoever. They both got 0. De Bruyne and Martinelli, Rashford. Martinelli, a bit disappointed with him, right? Especially with Odegaard and Saka doing so well.
Mate, it's risky selling Martinelli, knowing there's a double round the corner. But if you're sure with Arsenal, you're going to be on triple Arsenal for that double game week 23, which I will be. And you know Arsenal are playing in the blanks, and you know Arsenal are going to go on like great runs. You got to get the best 3, and if that means a sideways move from Martinelli to an Odegaard or Martinelli to a Saka, if you believe they're the better players, and I know later in the show we're going to be comparing Arsenal assets, then so be it. And this might be the week I actually come off Martinelli for a week and then go short term on someone, a United midfielder, and then go to Odegaard, for example, because I just don't think I want Martinelli in my team long term now. I want Odegaard. I want Nketiah.
It's tricky. It's tricky once you've got the value tied up in them to make the switch, but I think particularly with Trossard signing as well, adding that extra bit of competition to Martinelli, I think he's going to be a sell for a lot of people. Again, difficult before a double because as you said, it's a kind of sideways move. So yeah, decisions to be made there. March, you went for March over Matoma. Clearly hadn't been reading my scout articles or my threads.
I'm gutted I didn't see them, mate, because genuinely I was asking Brighton fans for advice, and usually we would chat on the Wednesday, but you were in Mexico. So, yeah, I looked on Scout, compared the two players. I'd obviously been watching them. My heart did say Matoma, but my head went, no, go with the numbers. Look at the average position maps, and March is that little bit closer to the goal. He's the most advanced player in the team. And he was against Leicester again. He did miss a sitter, which Matoma set him up for.
That's March, yeah.
He's just not great in front of goal. But I'm still happy owning a Brighton mid, despite it being the wrong mid, for the Bournemouth fixture.
Yep.
So I'm still there. I still expect some points. But yeah, I spoke to Jules on the Friday. Jules Breach is obviously a Brighton fan. And she said, I've gone Matoma. And she had just bought in Matoma. She was like, it's a no-brainer. And I was like, I've now sold March in my head. I'm just going to go there. I should have listened to her, and I would have listened to you.
I think I might have said it on a stream. I think March is a good option, by the way. I think the stats are good, and he should start he's getting into good positions, and that normally means the points are going to come. But I think I said to you on a stream like a month ago or something. I've never seen a player in the Premier League. I think only Mahrez with as good close control of the ball as Matoma. Remember, I compared him to Messi.
Yeah. We did have that fun, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the goal he scored in the FA Cup just encapsulates it. His touch, everything about him is just classy. The ball just glues to his feet, and there's very few players that I've seen with the ability that he's got. So,
well, he did write his thesis on the art of dribbling, and he was playing university football only a couple of years ago. Like
is that true?
Crazy for me. Yeah. I've just been doing some research on Matoma.
Yeah, very
good. I've actually pre-recorded as a 60-second YouTube short on Matoma just the other day.
Very good. I mean,
it's not out yet, so keep your eyes.
I will be looking forward to that. And there you are with March, you see. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Then it's Kane up top with Haaland, and you've still got Kai Havertz. I don't know how he managed to stick around, but you feeling? I mean, Chelsea have signed a lot of creative players around him. You think he's going to be a good option?
Interesting, as you say that, Niraj in the chat. What's the obsession with Havertz, Gianni? And it's a funny one because it's not actually. It's not an obsession, I promise you that. But it was meant to be a 1-week punt.
It always is.
It always is. We had unlimited transfers off the back of the World Cup. I think he had Bournemouth the first game back. I was confident he'd start. He went and got a 12-pointer against Bournemouth. Like, he's been a good own. Compare him to Mitrovic and Martial and Callum Wilson. He's outperformed them. I think Tony has just edged him. But yeah, he's been really good, or been okay, been good enough for that price. Now Jorginho's gone, Kai's going to be on pens. He has Fulham at home this week. Again, I think I'll be off him by next week because I'm going to have Nketiah for the double. But each week I keep saying, give it one more week. And against Liverpool, the 0-0, after 5 minutes, Chelsea thought they were 1-0 up. VAR took about 5 minutes, and there I was tweeting and celebrating Havertz scoring the opener. So again,
That doesn't sound like you, Gianni.
Yeah, I'll celebrate a premature celebration on that one. So yeah, look, he's playing number 9 for a team that are starting to look a little better, starting to score goals and have some good fixtures. For the time being, I'm playing it week by week. I think he'll come out for Nketiah, but I'm gonna play him in that Fulham Friday night game.
Okay, good. Excellent. Nice to have you've got a couple of differentials in there, March and Havertz. I like it.
Yeah, and I'm buying another one this week, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I'm interested by this. You kind of teased before we even came on. I just know what your moves are. So yeah, stick around to learn who that is. Let's take a quick look at the great and the good. So thank you to Greyhead for this. You've been added, which is unfortunate because you're ahead of myself and Mark. You can see here that puts you in about 7th. You are nestled between Tom Stevenson and FPL General. Good place to be. I mean, 220k at this stage. I mean, you were in the top. Were you in the top 100k a few weeks ago?
No, I think I was. No, I think I was 150, 180 or something. Okay. Yeah. I think I started with a 1, but not for long.
Yeah, still not bad. I'm down there in 700k, but yeah, as I said, quite a big green for me. And then Mark, someone asked where Mark is. Mark is still bottom of the great and the good, unfortunately. But he's now 3 million in the world rather than 4 million. He went up 741,000 places with his score of 97. And he's now just about 40 points-ish off Savanish Singh. So if he can get off the bottom, he will be absolutely over the moon. Greyhead has tough
season.
Yeah,
tough season. Look at these rank. I mean, look, Ben Crellin top, great, and FPL Harry in the top 10k. But other than that, this time last year, so many of those names would be in the top 10k.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, you can see. I mean, when you come to below Tom Stevenson, so from you, so the majority of the great and the good, the kind of good managers, are all ranked lower than 200k. So yeah, it is a very tough season indeed. Greyhead's also sent us the restart. So this restart league that the Premier League pushing. What did they call it? They called it like an initiative like no other, or something very strange, which I'm not too sure about. But you can see here, Mark is not bottom of this, so he is doing quite well since the restart. I'm about mid-table, and you are basically everyone's kind of about where they are, except for Mark, who's kind of off the bottom. So it's been a decent restart for most managers, apart from the likes of Magnus. I mean, 400k, Neil, 400k rank drop, Savanish 500k. I mean, these are quite big, but Mark's got up 1 million places, so yeah, he'll be happy with that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Magnus is playing some rogue moves. I've noticed he's been going really, really loose with his gameplay, which is perhaps off the back of either not caring so much this year, off the back of maybe a bad start, or maybe he's just gone super differential for the fun of it. But he's having fun with it.
Yep. You might have noticed, Gianni, that our Zoom is playing up, so I might have to send you a new invite in just a second. In fact, we will do that now, just while we wait. So,
I did notice the 8-minute 37 countdown.
I don't know why it's. I swear it only happens to me, and it hasn't happened to me in months, but it's come back again. So just bear with us for 2 seconds, and I will sort this out. Hello, sorry, we're back. It's my fault. As I said, someone hasn't paid the bill. It's me. I think is the answer to that. We're back. Hopefully you can hear us. And yeah, luckily we don't have to stop the stream. Luckily we've got that starting soon because it means I can just do that. And no one's ever the wiser. Right, let's get into some actual content then. Let's start by looking at some of the January signings that have taken place so far. So I've got some of the kind of key ones on this list for us to talk to. So the big news today, Cancelo going off to Bayern on loan with a 70 million euro buy that they can take up at any point. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked by this whole saga because I honestly thought Cancelo was in the bracket of De Bruyne and Haaland as being completely irreplaceable for Pep, given what he's done over the last few seasons. And for that, I can't remember a relationship going so sour so quickly. Can you? It's weird, right?
It is weird. It is weird. He clearly was off form. He lost his place to Dalot in the World Cup. Came back to the restart, and the likes of Rico Lewis were getting starts. Ake was playing a lot, and with that, he wasn't in the 11 quite often, and didn't take kindly to it. And apparently, there was a big bust up ahead of the Arsenal game. He didn't like the fact he was dropped. We have seen Pep fall out with big personalities, and we don't know what Cancelo's like. He's clearly a bit of a personality with a bit of an ego, and a lot of great players have that. But Pep, over years gone by, has fallen out with big names. Zlatan comes to mind. He's sold amazing players at City. He's let them go. He lets Leroy Sané go. He let Sterling go recently to a rival. And with Cancelo, he's just thought, I'm not having that attitude on the training ground day in, day out, which is clearly their relationship had turned sour and no players bigger than the club. Now, look, City aren't going to be short of takers here. It's interesting that it's alone with the option. This is a guy we've spoken about being one of the top fullbacks in world football on the left or the right. So it's a big loss. It's a big loss. There'll be City fans really disappointed because he wasn't having the best of seasons even before the World Cup. But you look back at last season, arguably their second best player, probably after De Bruyne. He's been phenomenal. And in FPL, we'll really miss him. But we've all just saved a whole load of money because you knew at some point you'd be buying back Cancelo this year. Well, not anymore. You don't need that 7 million defender. You can have Ake or Rico Lewis at 3.9 instead.
I mean, I'd go one further and say he's the best left back in Europe, given what we've seen from previous few seasons. And I think him leaving City weakens them significantly in an area which they're not exactly stacked in at fullback. I mean, he's going to be putting a lot of faith in Lewis. Is it Lewis? Rico Lewis? Yeah. Yeah. And there's obviously a lot of he's got a very talented player, but is he ready to play 90 minutes in game out? I think Pep thinks he probably is. So yeah, really interesting move. I mean, we all thought he was indispensable at the start of the season. Everyone had him in their teams, and for him to have gone, in January, really interesting. What about Jorginho? Come on, Here we go.
Arsenal have got themselves...
This is why I've got you on here.
Arsenal have got themselves a natural-born winner, a natural leader, a good influence in the dressing room. It's a great deal. It feels like a great deal for all parties. Like Chelsea getting money for someone that's going to leave for free in the summer. They've got someone with that winning experience. I'm surprised to see so many Arsenal fans annoyed about this. The disrespect Jorginho gets in the Premier League and certainly in sort of football and FPL Twitter really surprises me because he doesn't get that in Italy and he doesn't get that in Europe. And this is a guy that literally came third in the Ballon d'Or. When was the last time a Premier or an Arsenal player hit a top 3 Ballon d'Or? I think Thierry Henry might have come third once or twice. He's come third in the Ballon d'Or.
Here we go.
And the disrespect he gets.
Drinking game.
The disrespect he gets. So look, I think he's a good move. Look, I don't think he's going to break into that Arsenal 11 straight away. Like if Thomas Partey's fit, the way he's playing, sure he plays, but he's a brilliant backup to have. And look, it'll be on penalties. So for those that own Saka when they are on the pitch together, you'd think Jorginho will take them. He was Chelsea's vice captain as well, by the way. So Chelsea have lost a leader and they're short of leaders. I just think, great move from Arteta, who, by the way, Arteta's becoming Pep 2.0, isn't he? He's bought some Man City players in Jesus and Zinchenko. He plays a very similar style. Pep Guardiola, when Jorginho left Napoli, was desperate to sign Jorginho. It's been well publicised. Pep has spoken about it. He didn't get his man, Pep. Jorginho literally at the 12th hour decided, I'm going to go sign for Chelsea because Maurizio Sarri had just been appointed the manager there and he stayed with the same manager. Pep didn't go and buy replacements. He was like, no, I want Jorginho. I want that type of player. He had to wait a year till he actually bought the Fernandinho replacement, which was Rodri and was an amazing signing with a slightly different profile. But just like Pep wanted Jorginho, Arteta wants Jorginho. There's no coincidence here. Elite managers think this guy's brilliant, so let's give him some respect.
It's interesting because it's very easy. I mean, I don't particularly like Jorginho in the same way that I don't really like pickles, you know. But it's like I'm with someone who really likes pickles, so yeah, maybe you're the girl that's got me into pickles. I don't know. Maybe you got me into Jorginho. It's an interesting signing, isn't it? I mean, his experience is a leadership move. It's cover for a lot of their players.
Yeah.
It's just I can see why Arsenal fans are a bit like, why couldn't we have moved for someone who's really going to strengthen us, and you know, long term as well. Heavily linked to Caicedo. Obviously, I've been having endless Twitter beef with people on Twitter because I think it doesn't matter what I think. I think £60 million is probably the right money for Caicedo, but not in January. And we as Brighton put a valuation on him around 100 million. Chelsea and Arsenal weren't willing to pay it. Why should we bend over and let them and let him leave? You know, he came out and he did his agent came out and did that statement. It was, unless they stumped up 100 million, there was no way he was gonna go. So Arsenal have had to settle for a kind of a less impressive option, I think, given his age and given the fact he's not going to probably be a first team player. But yeah, as a Brighton fan, I'm happy that Caicedo is staying because he at the moment is worth 100 million to us in January, and he'll probably leave for 60 million or something in the summer, which will be sad, but I'll be able to take it. Trossard to Arsenal, another Brighton player. Very rare transfer where I think everyone's happy.
Yeah,
I think we've got Matoma, so he wasn't playing on the left. He wasn't doing particularly well in the false nine. I think he's a great rotation option for Arsenal. I think he makes them stronger. I want to see him do well. 25 million. Everyone's happy, right?
Yeah, it feels good. He's not going to get in the Arsenal 11 straight away, but he's been bought to put pressure on that 11. The 11 feels so good at the moment. Like all elite teams kind of have that. Certainly, title-winning teams have that 11 you can just name, and Arsenal have it. So the likes of Jorginho and Trossard have to almost wait in line. But seeing Trossard come off the bench against United, I thought he did more. He almost did as much in 10 minutes as what Martinelli did all game. And then seeing play in the FA Cup against Man City, he was one of Arsenal's best players. I know they lost the game 1-0, but he was brilliant. And I did think, this makes Martinelli a worse FPL option because sure, he's probably going to continue to start, but he's going to come off a lot at 70 minutes, a lot at perhaps 60 minutes. Martinelli will be first attacking sub to come off, and Trossard will come into that role. And if Trossard hits the ground running or continues to impress, and Martinelli hasn't looked great post-World Cup, maybe we see a little change there. It puts me off Martinelli.
Gives them options as well. It means they could go to 3 at the back. Maybe he could play a wing back if they need to. I just think it's a really good signing for them, and he's obviously got a point to prove. Having been ousted by De Zerbi. So, interested to know where that goes. McKennie, I don't know a huge amount about him. You're the Italian correspondent, I guess. What can you tell us about him? I know he's a laugh, right? I've seen his interviews. He's got a lot of energy and, obviously good at the World Cup with the US, but I don't really know too much about him at Juve.
I did an interview for, when you were away, you'd have missed this, for Arsenal Fan TV. And they referred to me as the Italian Stallion expert or something, and I was like, yes, I've waited all my life for this. I finally made it, Mum. I'm on Arsenal Fan TV speaking about it was Arsenal would sign a centre back, Kivior from Spezia in Serie A, and they wanted to know a little bit about him. But look, McKennie, this is a great signing for the Premier League. Like, I'm excited to see him in the Premier League. He joined Juve at a really tough time because since he's joined, they've been all over the place for various reasons. But this is a player. And for those that watch McKennie in the World Cup, the England-USA game, for example, I think it was a bit of a boring 0-0. I thought McKennie at the time was probably the best player on the pitch. And he's linking up with people he knows well. American manager. He'll be playing next to Tyler Adams in the middle of the park, which is who he plays with for the USA. I think, again, this is a loan with an option to buy for, I think, 30 mil. Juve picked him up on a free from Germany. He likes a late run into the box. He can be a goal threat. He's full of energy. He's surprisingly good in the air. He scores headers. And he's, I think, probably sub 6 foot, but he's got really good leap on him. He's joining a really exciting team. For USA, he starts over, say, Aronson. Slightly different roles, but Aronson is obviously in that team as well at Leeds. I think we'll see both and Adams, but it's a very, very attack-minded midfield if you go for those three. And look, Leeds have got lots of fun attacking players ahead of him, so he might have to be a little bit more disciplined and play like as a traditional box-to-box central midfield number 8, which is his role, but he's going to have to remember that defensive responsibility as well, because he can't just keep bombing into the box trying to score, knowing they've got all those attacking players ahead of him.
He surely improves Leeds attacking-wise. I mean, Nonto is popular. Someone like Harrison, if he stays, I mean, he's been linked away. Sinistera's like coming back and things. I don't know, having that kind of like, I mean, that's a really experienced player if he's been playing for Juve, you know, and a US international as well, coming into the midfield. Surely makes Leeds stronger. So it's a good time with the double coming up. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I think that signing pretty much secures Leeds safety wise.
I hope so. I'd like to see Leeds stay in the Prem. They've got too many good players.
Gordon, what do you reckon about this? Anthony Gordon to Newcastle, £40 million. I don't really rate him that highly.
I don't get the hype.
I don't really get the hype. And I guess they need someone who can kind of operate in the St. Maximan type position because he's always injured and he can give a cover to a few different areas. But is he that good? I don't like to slate players because I'm crap at football, but I can only rate them based on, you know, the money they've gone and the club he's gone to, who are a top 4 challenging club. I'm not too sure about it personally.
They're not the first club that have been linked with him, and the fact Chelsea were linked with even bigger money move in the summer, there are scouts that are impressed by this kid. We just haven't seen enough of it. It's the English tax though, isn't it? If Anthony Gordon wasn't English, wasn't playing in the Premier League, it'd be a 10 million transfer. Interestingly enough, I saw the other day, he's not, you don't buy a player for this, but he reached the second highest speed in the Premier League this season. He is rapid.
Really?
So maybe they like the idea of the counter-attack.
I didn't realise he was that fast, to be
Neither
fair.
did I. I was really surprised to see him in the top 5. Yeah, and we'll talk about number 1 in a couple of items' time.
I actually know who that is, weirdly enough. I didn't know Gordon was second, though. Let's talk about him now. Let's talk about Mudryk. Now he's gone to Chelsea. He is clocked as the fastest speed in the Premier League. He's only had one game.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Again, I don't know a huge amount about him. Obviously, lots of money signed. He's in a bit of trouble for a social media post that he did today. But yeah, you've got to think he's going to be a major key player for Chelsea. And the question marks are around Sterling, I think, as whether Sterling can keep his place, because Mudryk looks like he's going to oust him. Looks like an exciting prospect.
He does. He looked really good against Liverpool as well. It's easy to look at his record. I think this season at Shakhtar, 18 games, 10 goals, 8 assists, and go Farmers League. But then when you look at the numbers and you go, oh, those 18 games, a third of them were in the Champions League. I think 6 of them were Champions League, where he got 5 goal involvements. And then you go back to Champions League last season, the first time I'd ever seen him play, and I've only ever seen him in the Champs, was him playing against Real Madrid, as he got a standing ovation at the Bernabeu, playing for Shakhtar. How many players go to the Bernabeu and get a standing ovation from the Real Madrid fans? So clearly he's impressed. They're all probably thinking, let's buy this kid in 18 months' time or whatever. Now, sure, he's been overpriced.
8-year deal as well, he's got, isn't he?
Yeah, it's how you get around financial fair play.
Yeah.
8.5-year deal. I think Chelsea players have said they're proper impressed. Apparently, there's been Chelsea players saying his shot in training is ridiculously hard, and they're super impressed by his one-on-one ability and how fast he is. So yeah, I think dubbed the Ukrainian Neymar, don't quite know if he's going to be that good, and I don't quite know if he's that even profile of player. But he's going to get a lot of starts. In FPL as 7 million midfielder, he's going to be on the team sheet.
Yeah, I like him. I do like him. I think if I was in the market for a Chelsea player, he'd be the one that I'd be going for. Gakpo to Liverpool. They kind of need him because they're running out of players. All the injuries, and Núñez isn't exactly doing amazingly well. We're going to talk a bit more about Gakpo later because we've got some data on him as well. I think he's better value than Salah at the moment. If I was buying a Liverpool player, I'd be going for him. He looks good in the games I've seen.
Yeah, he's a bit like Darwin. He's been getting chances but not converting them. We much rather see that in FPL than a player not getting any chances, like Mo Salah, for example. So he's missed a few, not looked the most composed early on, but the fact that the ball's dropping his way is positive. I'm just not sure about this signing. It fits in the team and when everyone's fit. And I'm just surprised Liverpool, I don't know if they're linked with any moves, last minute moves in the next couple of hours that I don't know about, but like I'm just surprised that they've spent their money, their January money has gone on an attacking player, which, they do need because of injuries, but what they really need is a midfielder. So I don't know. I don't know about this one.
No. I think it's probably going to work out, but it'd be interesting what his role is when all their players are fit. Just a couple of kind of more minor ones. Felix has obviously gone to Chelsea on loan, just signed a new contract though with Atletico. They're waiting for Simeone to leave, I think, and then Felix is going to go back and be like the talisman again. Weird transfer. I don't really think he's a option, is he? I think you go for Mudryk, don't you, if you're going to buy a Chelsea attacker?
I think so. It's just a shame that Felix has come in as a striker as well. Just don't like the fact he's coming as a striker. Looks like our mics might be a bit choppy as we might need to check our clean feed.
There's absolutely no reason for that because my internet connection's good. Clean feed is working. No idea why it's doing that. So
weird.
Choppy, everyone says. I don't know how to fix it.
Oh, it says someone said Jobby Jaws has said it is fixed.
Okay, good. Okay, well, if it happens again, let us know. But
yeah, thanks, guys.
I can't restart the app. Well, that's good advice because that will end everything. But yeah, let me know if it goes wrong. It shouldn't be. My internet is good. It says good connection anyway. Okay, and finally, Sabitzer has gone to United. We won't go into too much detail about it because it's not really an FPL option. It's obviously cover for Eriksen. I didn't know too much about him. I looked him up. Basically, he was amazing at Leipzig, signed for Bayern, couldn't really break into the team. He's got a hell of a free kick on him, and he's going to be good cover, for Eriksen while he's gone. So, not an option, but again, I think it just United needed to sign a midfielder, and I think it just means they're not all going to be knackered and ruined in a few weeks because they've got like a game every 3 days or something ridiculous like that. Their
schedule's insane, and they are a bit light. That Eriksen injury is going to potentially hit them hard.
Yeah, just Fred, Fernandes, and Sabitzer because McTominay and Eriksen are both injured. Excellent. Right, well, that took us ages to cover all that. I thought that was going to be a really quick section, but a lot of fun. Let's get into some actual FPL stuff. Right, so this is the next 6. So Arsenal are top of the ticker. Leeds there as well. City, United, all the teams with the double game weeks. They are the 4 teams with double game weeks in the next 2 weeks. Brighton are next. We've had some tough games. We've got Bournemouth, we've got Palace, we've got Fulham coming up, and Chelsea as well with all their new signings. We haven't even mentioned Enzo, who might be signing for 110 million. Probably will have signed by the time this goes out. Another signing. They've got Fulham, West Ham, Southampton, Leeds, all in the next 5. So good fixtures for them. Right down the bottom, Bournemouth and Palace. Not a good time for Palace, given they've been awful. Newcastle right down there, though, although they have got West Ham and Bournemouth in the next 2. The important thing to remember here is I've put some question marks. Newcastle are playing Southampton at the moment. Newcastle are beating Southampton. If they are to win that game, which it looks like they will and go through, that means their game against Brighton in game week 25 will be off. Yeah, which is not good news for me because I've got 3 players in that match. And again, United are playing Forest. United are 3-0 up in that game. You'd expect them to go through. And that means their game against Brentford will be off in 25. So it's very likely that there will be no game for United, Brentford, Newcastle and Brighton in game week 25. So factor that in if you're making any transfers.
I don't know what I make of the blanks in 25. They're going to hit us hard, but at the same time, I don't want to be put off buying players. Like, for example, last week I wasn't put off buying a Brighton player because I was like, there are points there to be had now. I always think with these blanks, if you get 9 or 10 good players out, that's way better than forcing it to get your player 10 and 11 who are just going to go pick up 2 points and you're taking hits to get someone who's got a very low ceiling in just to cover. So this is more about quality over quantity for me as we prep for 25 and then the blank in 28 as well.
Well, Brighton Newcastle's a tricky game to call anyway in that.
Yeah.
Because, I know Newcastle have been incredible, but I'd still back Brighton to score in that. People are going off Almiron anyway, the attackers. I don't think that's a huge kind of a blow. United Brentford is interesting because it's a home game for United, so Rashford obviously could be a big miss. Lots of people could be buying like Fernandes, maybe Anthony, Shaw, and all that. I mean, I'm going to probably end up with 6 players out of that game, so I do need to start thinking a little bit about it. But I know what you mean. I don't really want to. I wouldn't be not buying like Matoma, for example, has got Bournemouth, Palace, and Fulham in the next 3. Are you really not going to tap into that just because there might be just because of the blanking 25?
Mate, loads last week weren't willing to buy Matoma for that reason.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, of course, you need to err on the side of caution for some players. But when there's, I mean, you've shown the same with Botman in recent weeks. 6 and 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you saw this from Ben Krellin as well. Obviously, one of the best accounts to follow at Ben Krellin. He's been looking at game week 28, which is FA Cup quarter-finals. Mm-hmm. So he has been looking at the teams that are likely to have a blank in this. And there's some big names coming in this. So Brighton United, 92% likely, Ben thinks, to be off. Because all it would take is Brighton to beat Stoke in the Cup or United to beat West Ham. Probably going to happen, one of those two at least. Man City, West Ham, 92% to be off. If Man City beat Bristol City or if West Ham beat United, you'd expect Man City to beat Bristol City. That's probably going to be off as well. And Southampton, Tottenham, 88%. Southampton need to beat Luton or was it Grimsby? Must be. Or if Spurs beat Sheffield United / Wrexham. So again, these are Premier League sides against lower league oppositions. You'd expect those 3 teams to go through. So I'm looking at that. I've got Kane, I've got De Bruyne, I've got Haaland, I've got Rashford, I've got Matoma, I've got Shaw. That's going to be free hit territory, I think, for me. Realistically.
Do you not want free hit in a big double though? I hate using free hit in a small blank. For me, this is potentially a dead end your team into a wild card in 29, or even I think 29 is going to be a big double. So could even dead end your team, bring in transfers of players you know will play in 28, and then free hit in 29 or wild card in 29. I don't think I'll be free hitting this week, but I get it. And for you especially, you're stacked on, say, Brighton and City there, just 2 of those teams. This week is going to cause carnage. The 25 blank is manageable. The 28 blank leaves us with a lot of options, and it's going to be disruptive to most of us.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There's going to be lots of different strategies utilised. There's going to be the wild card. There's going to be the free hits. There's going to be people just trying to muddle through. I like to use a free hit in the blank because I know that I'm going to get points, and I've used a free hit so many times. Well, I can think of 3 occasions when I've used a free hit and ended up with less points than if I just stuck with my original team. And it hurts, but we are going to see lots of doubles. I don't know. It's a tricky one. My instinct is I'm probably going to use it, given how many players I'm going to have out and without the time to really do the dead ending tactic. But yeah. You
can have some fun with it. I mean, just looking at the confirmed fixtures, you don't own Aston Villa and Chelsea players, but on a free hit, Villa at home to Bournemouth, Chelsea at home to Everton. By then, we could see the likes of Mudryk or João Felix looking really good. Aston Villa have got some interesting players too. You could go quite differential with a free hit team and have some fun with it.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe the wild card is a better strategy. We'll cover 28 in a bit more detail kind of as we get closer. But yeah, worth kind of checking these and checking Ben Krellin on Twitter to, help with any potential moves you might be making. Right, let's look at some data. Lovely data. Here we go. Team attack. So this is all the data we're going to be talking about is since the restart. We've got 6 weeks of data now, so we can start looking at that. This is the team data attack. Arsenal right at the top. XG non-panic penalty of 2.27. Basically expected to score over 2 goals every match, and they've had the fixture difficulty of 14 out of 20. So tough fixtures and doing that. Second is City with 2.21 XG non-panic penalty, who've had the best fixtures. Now, if that doesn't highlight how good Arsenal are attacking wise this season, I don't know what does, because they are just incredible, aren't they? Amazing side.
This is why I given the choice now, and it's too late for me. I'm not going to go move Ben White and to Nketiah, but this is why having triple Arsenal attack would be my play if I was, say, on a wild card. And this is why I don't mind making a sideways move from, say, a Martinelli to an Odegaard, or making a move to accommodate an Nketiah, because getting 3 Arsenal and the right 3, or 2 of the right 3 for the run of games they're about to go on and the double game week is needed because this is the best attack in the league by a country mile. You know, we all go and spend a quarter of our budget on Man City attack. You know, we have Haaland and KDB, or what's that, a fifth of our budget. We probably need to invest even more in that Arsenal attack. Like Nketiah and Odegaard still aren't, and Saka probably aren't owned high enough, as high as they should be. I know a ton of us are on Martinelli from the early season bargain, the early season form, but those other Arsenal players need probably a little bit more love up top.
Yeah. You wait till I show you some stats on Nketiah in a minute. That doesn't tempt you into selling Havertz for him. I don't know what will. I highlight Brighton here as well. Maybe I'm a bit biased, but it is impressive. We're 5th on the table behind Arsenal, City, Liverpool, United, and then us, but 19th on the fixture difficulty. XG non-penny penalty of 1.61, which is, you know, insanely high. And we're actually converting. We've been top of these bloody tables before and never been able to score. We're actually scoring goals now. What's the difference, Az?
Because it's the same players. Obviously, it's a different coaching team, and De Zerbi is clearly like an elite manager. But what's driving towards being an elite manager? What's he done differently? Why are you sticking the ball in the net? Because, as you say, you were neat and tidy before, but the end product wasn't always there. De Zerbi's lost Trossard and potentially will lose Caicedo. Like, some of his best players have gone, and he still looks really good. This team looks great.
I don't know. is the answer. Yeah. I mean, Matoma is much more clinical than Trossard has been. He's got a good conversion rate, and when I see him take a shot, I tend to think it's going to at least hit the target. Whereas you never really know with half our players what it is. But I don't know what it is. I mean, you could argue it's confidence. You could argue it's a different type of run the players are making. I don't really know. We've got players playing in slightly different positions now. But yeah, it's hard to finger point exactly what it is, but hey, I won't complain. It's lovely to see us scoring goals. That Liverpool game in the FA Cup was such a good game to watch, honestly. Just got back from Mexico, lying on the sofa, watching that. That goal from... Anyway, sorry, I will stop going.
The XG in that game, as for Brighton, was over 2 again.
2. We absolutely dominated that game. We were fantastic. And Liverpool lost their heads at the end. And I don't care what Klopp says when he starts complaining about the question being asked and all that. Yeah, they got basically should have had 3 red cards. Well, okay, that's maybe a bit much. But I mean,
how was Konate's not a red? I mean,
Konate's was a second yellow. Fabinho's was a clear red. Robertson's would have been a harsh red, but could have been a red.
Fabinho thought he was done. He was kind of like, you could see he would realise he made a mistake. He was leaving the pitch.
How can they not give that? How can VAR review that and not give it when it could be a season-ending tackle from behind? VAR. Let's not go down that road because, my God, that technology pisses me off. Spurs I've highlighted as well. They're 14th on this list, despite having the 4th best fixtures. Really struggling down there. The likes of Kane, Son hasn't been an option for us. I've got Kulusevski, got the double up there, but Kane's got this illness now, and don't know. It's a bit of a worrying time. So they did grind out a win against Fulham, but one to monitor. And then finally, Palace, right down the bottom. 2nd best fixtures.
Ouch.
Bottom of the list. Quite a few people went for Zaha. I don't know what's going on with Palace this season. They really have been awful, haven't they?
They have, and they should be improved because this is a good squad of players. Yeah. They've got so many exciting forwards. You look at Elise and Eze and Wilf. Edward, they still don't have an out-and-out 9. Like, Edouard isn't the answer, I don't think. Mateta's not the answer. And I don't know if Vieira is going to perhaps push for a 9 perhaps in the summer now, but they've got a good core group of players here. I think they'll come good because I think Vieira is going to be a good manager, and I think they've shown glimpses of being a good team, but they've had a soft centre this season. They've been conceding far too many, and that's not what we associate with Palace defence. That centre-back partnership, Anderson and Gahey, are a good combo. But just not necessarily been performing this year.
Yeah, I mean they're not really being talked about for relegation. I mean they've got 24 points, which isn't awful. Puts them in 12th place. There's definitely teams worse than them, but there definitely seems to be some issues with identity and exactly what they are. But to be bottom of this table, I think at this stage is a bit worrying. Let's take a look at defence. So top of the team data defence is Newcastle. Unsurprisingly, XG conceded non-penalty penalty 0.53. Just shows it's not a fluke though, right? They're just not big chance conceded per 90 0.2. The next best on this list is Brentford, I think, which is 0.6. I mean, that is so low. That is just, it's absolutely nuts. Teams just cannot seem to find a way through.
Honestly, and the fixture difficulty there, like they've not had easy games. They've not had easy games at all. Eddie Howe. We didn't know Eddie Howe was this type of manager. No. It's not the Eddie Howe we remember from Bournemouth. His teams leaked goals at Bournemouth, and they were really good going forward. This Newcastle team, certainly post-World Cup in the Premier League, I know they've scored 2 tonight. In the Premier League, they've looked a little bit goal shy and shot shy, but it doesn't matter too much because they're banking on those clean sheets. They're winning games 1-0. But yeah, an elite defence, fair play. The recruitment's been great as well. Like, I think Burn at left back's been really good. Botman's been sensational, and Trippier is best player in FPL this season.
I mean, honestly, it's nice to see Burn doing well. Boyhood Geordie leaves us. Okay, left us. I thought we left us a bit short, but fair enough. Don't begrudge that move at all. And for him to still be doing there and playing well and scoring and stuff is great. So yeah, full credit to. I mean, Newcastle have just been defied all expectations this season. Southampton I've highlighted as well. They're 6th.
That's amazing, that one.
I know, 6th on the list. 7 best fixtures. Nathan Jones, he's having an impact. They've scored a couple
spending
against
some
Newcastle.
money as well, aren't they, Southampton?
Spent a bit of money. They got off to a bad start. The fans were calling him to be sacked after just a couple of games. But since that win against City, things are looking up. But they are bottom of the league. They've got 15 points. They need to start getting points. Defence is always a good place to start. I still think they go down. I
do. I don't think that back line's good enough. Even the goalkeeper. I mean, you're just not going to invest in them with FPL, even seeing these good numbers. Just above them, though, Brentford probably haven't given them the respect they deserve. Like I've seen a few people with Ben Mee. I mean, David Raya would be our keeper probably if Kepa wasn't in the mix. Like, I think he's a similar price to Kepa, around 4.7, 4.8. He's kept 3 clean sheets in the last 4. Brentford are a good defence, but yeah, Southampton will be a swerve. But I think Brentford at some point will probably be investing in 1 or 2 of their assets, not just Tony, but maybe a defender or 2.
Yep. So, and I've highlighted Spurs again as well, 13th on the list here. Defensive-wise, not doing well. One player we haven't talked about is their new signing.
Porro.
Yeah. So Doherty's gone, Porro's come in, Emerson's still around somehow. You've got to think Porro's going to take that spot, but you never really know. But defensively, they're not looking too amazing. Very, very average across both. You expect more from Conte's side.
Yeah, you would. That centre-back 3 of kind of Romero and Dyer and Davies has had a soft centre, but also Hugo Lloris is having a season to forget. And I think they've conceded a ton from Lloris errors. So yeah, see what happens there. I'm sure they'll be recruiting a goalkeeper in the summer.
A few people saying that Palace's fixtures have been tougher than I'm giving them credit for. This is according to the Scout ticker, which I've just double-checked. They have played Fulham and Bournemouth in 17 and 18. They have then played Spurs, Chelsea, United and Newcastle, which I do agree is quite a tough run of game. I think Spurs and Chelsea and United have all been, they're not as kind of difficult fixtures as you might think. So, yeah, Palace are second over this period. They haven't made any mistakes, according to Scouts. So, yeah, don't blame me, basically. Keepers. Let's take a look at some goalkeepers. We've got Pope at the top, points per 90 of 6.6. That's the highest. Raya, who you mentioned earlier, with 6 as well. Brentford looking really good. And then Kepa in third with 5.67. Few people thinking of some goalkeeper moves this week. I'm seeing a few Melee mentions, which is when Double Gameweek fever is hitting. A few De Gea mentions as well, given they've got the double. I'd be keeping Kepa though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, also Kepa, Chelsea playing the blanks. So again, 25 and 28, you're good. There's no reason to sell Kepa. Look, Kepa's just gone to Anfield and got a 9-pointer. Yeah. He can get clean sheets anywhere. This Chelsea defence under Potter will only improve as well. They've just had 2 weeks on the training ground as well, remember. Chelsea weren't in the FA Cup. And we know Potter teams historically are decent defensively. Chelsea will keep clean sheets. I'm convinced of it, and I think Kepa's a long-term hold at that price.
Me too. I'd still be picking Kepa if I was wildcarding this week. It's still, I think it's 4.6. playing for Chelsea, who I think are going to get better as the season goes on. Potter is a good manager. They've made good signings. They're going to improve, and they're going to be pushing for. I think top four's gone, but they're going to be. I think they're going to be Brighton's biggest competitor for top six. There you go. Didn't think I'd be saying that at the start of the season.
Yeah, Brighton, Liverpool, and Chelsea all going for one spot.
Top six. It's nuts, isn't it? Defenders. We got Ben Godfrey, top of the XGI non-penalty per 90.
Ouch.
Yeah, who'd have thought? Only 2 starts, though, 0.52. I tried to highlight some interesting looking double game week options. Spoiler, there isn't any, really. We got Martinez at United, top of the XGI non-penalty per 90 with 0.23, but that's obviously a bit kind of skewed because he scored the goal, which, could really be anyone. Basically, the defenders this year, the XGI non-penalty per 90s are really low across the board. I mean, Trent's at 0.42, which is still high. Perisic is 0.33, but there isn't really anyone that I like the look of too much. I mean, Shaw's right down there, 0.11. Very unlikely to get attacking returns from him. If you're going to be trying to be clever and get Varane, he's at 0.03 and will probably get injured. So I think if I was buying one, I'd probably go for Martinez, to be honest. I know the stats aren't there, but I don't think there's a huge amount between them. And he's quite a bit cheaper than Shaw now.
Yeah, and that United double, I guess Crystal Palace at Old Trafford, you could see a clean sheet maybe. I expect the Leeds game to have goals. I don't think United keep a clean sheet there. And because we all have Shaw, do we really want double United defence? I'm not so sure. I do like on this list though, number 10, Rico Lewis, knowing Cancelo's left, 3.9. He's going to be in our team at some point, isn't he, this season, because of the value. And many will say, it blocks you going to Foden or Grealish or Mahrez as a City mid if you have a Rico Lewis, but it's not blocked if he's getting you 6 points every week, and we'll get that out of Rico Lewis. I'm currently on Ake and I'm not looking to make that move, but maybe when I sell De Bruyne and I'm happy with Haaland and I'm happy with Ake, I might go Rico Lewis because at 3.9 he can sit on my bench if he needs to, but I'd probably be starting him. It just allows me more money in my midfield and up top. I'm
probably going to get him because I've got Patterson and Bruno. I've got 3.9 million to spend, and I look at the rest of. I've got De Bruyne and Haaland already. Foden's a non-option, unfortunately for us, because we love him so much. I mean, there's maybe Mahrez, but there's no way I'm going there. I'm not going to go to Ederson. I don't trust any of the centre backs. I mean, it seems too good to be true.
It'll likely go up before the deadline as well, as I'm just looking. He's 3.9 currently, but a couple more thousand people buy him and he'll be going up to 4.0.
He's not a left back. He's a right back who's being shifted over to the left. They have got that other guy whose name escapes me. They
brought him from Spain.
Someone says in the chat, the other guy, the actual left back.
It's like Gomez or someone. I can't remember his name.
It might be. Is it Sergio Gomez? I think it is Gomez. Yeah,
maybe.
Or Ake obviously can play at left back as well. It's Gomez. Yeah, well done. So yeah, I mean, I think we might see some subs before 60 for him or some non-starts for Lewis, but Pep likes him. That's the main thing. And I think
he loves him, and he can play the Cancelo role because losing Cancelo, what are the other fullbacks in that club can go and play that inverted role, join the midfield, so you leave City with a back three? Because Cancelo was asked to do it, whether he was left back or right back, he joined the midfield. Well, Kyle Walker can, but he's not great at it. Ake's not doing it when he plays left back. Walker's probably not doing it a great deal at right back. So we're relying on Rico Lewis really taking up that Cancelo role.
Exactly, and it's an important position that the inverting into midfield and taking that midfield role. That's an important way in which City play. And you're right, there's few players in that squad now that can do that. So I'm definitely expecting his minutes to increase. I like him. Definitely. I mean, there's people talking about wildcards and stuff. I mean, if you're on a wildcard, I think he's a no-brainer. I'd go there. Enzo Fernandez confirmed to Chelsea, 110 million euros.
Wow, jeez. 110. So the release clause was 105. And we've paid more than that.
Yep. They paid 10 million for him 6 months ago.
You've never seen profit like it.
No, that is absolutely unbelievable. I'm speechless, to be honest. But I mean, taking away the figure, he's a good signing for them because he's a very good player and young.
Yeah.
But it's a hell of a lot of money. Midfielders. So some of these. So again, this is all since the restart. Mahrez is top. Finally getting a run of games. For City. We talk about Cancelo leaving after losing his place. Well, Mahrez has had to fight tooth and nail to get his place back. He loses it, he gets it back. He loses it, gets it back. Hopefully this is a decent run for him. De Bruyne is second, 0.78. That's really, really high numbers. He hasn't really been getting the points, unfortunately. Not even the top 10 for points for midfielders. 3.5 a game. Not very much when you're paying 12.5. Some of the other players I want to mention. Rashford, he's fourth on this list. We're going to be talking about him in a lot more detail, especially in terms of the triple captain chip. But I mean, look at some of these numbers. XGI non-penalty per 90 of 0.72. Crazy high. Points per 90. 8.47, crazy high. He's in the top 10 for shots per 90, shots in the box, XG non-penalty per shot. So the chance he's getting are good chances as well, at 0.19, which is one of the highest on this list, I think. So getting good chances, getting lots of chances, getting points. 2 home games against poor defences. He's got to be considered, isn't he?
He has. I definitely think it comes down to one or the other with triple captain. It's either you go Rashford or you go Haaland in 23. I think you have to play one of those, and that's purely because I think you want.
Because that's one of my screens.
Yeah, so I guess we'll get to that discussion later. But yeah, you have to consider him, and he's in the form of his life. I must admit, there's a few other names here I'm surprised to see. Like I'm surprised to see Harrison so high, Martinelli too. Like Martinelli there, higher than Odegaard and higher than Saka.
Yep, his XGI is good.
Yep. Okay.
Fernandes is 10th. He's very popular and the name of this stream. He's probably going to be coming into my team. I imagine he's going to be coming into Mark's team. I haven't actually asked him what his moves are.
Yeah, because Mark's got Salah. It's very easy for him to get Bruno.
I can't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
It's harder for those that have got De Bruyne though, because you could go De Bruyne to Bruno and back to De Bruyne, but I don't like using 2 transfers on that.
Nah, I don't like it, especially when you look at Spurs' defensive data as well. I think De Bruyne could do all right in that. I can see the logic, but I wouldn't be doing it personally.
Me neither.
No.
Yeah.
Casemiro is an interesting one. 0.53 XGI non-penalty per 90. No one's really got him down as a kind of attacking option, but he's got 2 goals and 2 assists and a goal since the restart, and he's only 4.9.
He just scored a brace in the FA Cup as well as I remember the goal he scored for Brazil against Switzerland. I was there at the World Cup. Great goal. He's a DM though. Like, what, we didn't know he had this in his locker. Sure, he scored a few goals at Real Madrid, but yeah, attacking threat. Although with Eriksen out, I don't know, does that help Casemiro get forward a bit more if Fred or McTominay play alongside him? I guess it does a little bit. But it also weakens Man United. Yeah, I mean, Casemiro just feels like he's having a good month in terms of attacking threat. I don't know if that's long term. I don't know if that's going to be sustainable for him, but definitely worth monitoring because he's 4.9.
Who was the guy that Leicester had from Italy who was like 35 and he joined them during
Cambiasso.
Remember Cambiasso?
Yeah, Argentinian from Inter. Yeah.
Do you remember? I had him. He was like scoring something every week.
And he was a DM.
And I remember like no one was buying him because he was like, we're not going to buy a DM. But he was a good option that season.
Yeah.
And maybe Casemiro is on a similar vein. You know, sometimes we see these DMs who've got the confidence to get forward, bit box to box. And the stats XGI non-penalty per 90 of 0.53 for Casemiro.
That's impressive.
It's impressive. It's good. Maybe
so similar to Bruno, and he's half the price.
I know, exactly. One to consider. Look at Salah. Salah dropping off. I mean, 0.53 isn't like terrible, but compared to where he's been, which has been almost double that for season after season, it is a big drop off for him. We talked about it earlier. He's got to be a sell, right? I can't see the justification for keeping him.
Easiest sell for me if he's in your team. I don't like to tell people what to do with their teams, but if you own Salah this week and you don't own Bruno or KDB, it's just a very quick and easy sell. So yeah, he'll be gone for me, Mo Salah. Look, at some point this season, I'm no doubt will be buying Mo Salah again, but this isn't his time right now. This isn't time to have a Liverpool player, any Liverpool player, I don't think.
Nope, I agree. Gakpo is just under him, same XGI non-penalty per 90 since the restart. Obviously, only had 2 appearances, but yeah, a shot per 90 of 4.21 for Gakpo is the highest of all midfielders.
Wow.
So
okay.
and he's 7.9. He's gone down in price already. Clearly people have been fed up with him after 2 games, but yeah, I think he's the one that I'd go for. Just to mention some of the players that maybe are not doing so well. Almiron is right down in 31st now.
I sold him last week, Almiron.
Yeah, XGI non-penalty 90 of 0.33. I think he scored tonight against Southampton, but yeah, it's the drop-off that we all kind of thought was going to happen. I think he's a hard keep if you still got him. I think he's as in it'd be hard to keep him.
Yeah, I think, especially knowing the Brighton mids are in the mix, and you could go to a Leeds midfielder. You could have a play with a Casemiro, for example. Yeah. Or even maybe an Anthony.
Yeah. Well, Anthony's awesome. He's 33rd. It's quite poor, 0.32. I've not been impressed with Anthony at all. He looks just like everyone's worked him out already. He's only been there 6 months.
He's been really bad, but, and I'll talk more about him when I'm talking about my transfer plans.
Here we go.
He started to look good in the Cup. He looked really good in the FA Cup. And the last couple of games, he started to show glimpses. Now, look, I'm not suggesting I want Anthony in my team long-term at all. I definitely don't. But for the double game week, knowing I'm going to be moving that midfield slot to Odegaard the week after, knowing he's got 2 home fixtures and he's at a price point I can reach, I prefer Anthony to Casemiro for the double, just knowing where he is on the football pitch, knowing that he should be starting both those games. But look, he'll probably be a minutes risk, and if he plays really poorly in the first game, he could be dropped for the Leeds game. I think Anthony could be a fun punt. I really do. I've seen glimpses there in the Cup. But yeah, this Premier League data since the restart has been really bad. He was poor against Arsenal.
Yeah, he's not for me. I mean, he's 4 starts since the restart, no goals, no assists. XG penalty number 90 of 0.32. It's all right, but there's none of these stats that make me think of jumping out. I mean, he's in the top 10 for shots per 90, but not shots in the box. His chances created per 90 is 0.27, which is the lowest of all players on this list, except for Gakpo with zero. But he's not creating chances. He's taking lots of shots, but not in the most dangerous areas. His XG non-penalty per shot is 0.09, which is really, really, really low. Yeah, not for me. But, fun punt for 1 week. You never know.
Yeah, I just back the fact that we haven't seen it as fans of the Premier League, but his manager clearly knows what he's doing, and his manager went, do you know what? Get the cheque put out and pay what you need to pay. So Ten Hag's seen something in Anthony that we haven't all been privy to yet. There's clearly a player there. He gets in the Brazil squad. You don't get in the Brazil squad if you're a bad player. So I don't know. Now's probably too premature, but I love a 1 week punt going against De Grain. I don't think I can stretch to Bruno without surgery, and I'm not willing to sell De Bruyne. Anthony just feels like a nice fun pick for 1 week only.
Exciting. The other player on this list is Rodrigo. Now, there are some rumours coming from the Leeds forums that Rodrigo is injured.
Ooh,
He's not flagged in FPL yet. It's not confirmed. I don't know what the kind of details are, but I thought I'd mention him. He's 39th on the list, though. 5 starts, only 1 goal, 0.29 XG non-penalty per 90. He's dropped off a lot since the World Cup, basically. And looking at Leeds players, I think there's only one that we're going to consider, who we're going to talk about in the next section. Yeah. But yeah. What do you just quickly? What do you think about? I mean, Harrison's in 5th. 0.7 XG non-penalty per 90 is really, really high, but
yeah,
not sure I'd go there.
Harrison's a big minutes risk as well now, though, because Nonto is a 90-minute man. I'd also just mention in the Cup, Bamford looked really good. I know he's not probably ready to start 2 games on a sort of Saturday, Wednesday or Sunday, Wednesday, but Bamford, an amazing assist for the Firpo goal. I think they were playing Accrington, got 2 assists, Bamford, and I just think Bamford's a really good FPL asset when he's fit.
Yeah, it's a big... It's just a bit too soon, I think, isn't it, for Bamford? Given that he hasn't played at all in the league. I think he played 11 minutes maybe in the last game, then played in the Cup. And Nonto was seemingly first choice, so... Yeah, well, let's come on to forwards. But before we talk about Nonto, let's talk about Eddie Nketiah, 6.7 million. He is top of forwards since the restart. Not only is he top of forwards since the restart, he is top of all players since the restart in terms of XGI non-penalty per 90 of 0.97. His XG non-penalty per shot of 0.24 is the highest as well. His accuracy is 50%, crazy high. Conversion 21%, that's good. He's taking shots, he's taking them in the right areas. He's getting 6 points per 90.
Seeing this data seeing this, Daz, makes me want to go, I'm going to be taking a 4-point hit for Nketiah next week. Do I just take that 4-point hit a week early? Or is going to Goodson Park after Sean Dyche has had him for a week or two a really difficult fixture? But I don't know. I definitely will own Nketiah for the double if he's fit. Do I go a week early on him? Maybe, because this is impressive. He's he's not just top of the charts. He's smashing everyone else at the moment.
You can't ignore it. It's the kind of data that you can't ignore. And there's obviously this kind of Jesus cloud around him, because when's he going to come back and take his place back, because he's going to be first choice. But Nketiah can't really be doing any more to justify his selection in the side. And the stats are really good. The fixtures are nice. There's a double game week coming up. I think if you haven't got him, you've got to be thinking about ways to get him at the moment. Which is,
can you wait a week though, Az? Can you wait the Everton game? I know Everton are at the bottom towards the bottom of the table. We should go, that's a really easy fixture. But do you feel like that first game with Sean Dyche, the fans maybe behind that new appointment, some time on the training ground with his boys, his centre backs? Is it a tricky one? Do you just go, I'll wait a week and go Nketiah for the double?
I think so, because I think the priority is the United players. With 2 home games, I think the priority is is probably getting Shaw, Fernandes, and Rashford. If you can't afford Fernandes, you get in the Casemiro or an Anthony, like you kind of say, and go from there. And then you look at Nketiah next. But yeah, I think you probably can wait a week, because we're going to be focusing on that double. But it's a tricky one, because these stats are good. His price is going to keep going up.
Yeah.
You've got Havertz there. I'd be tempted.
Havertz isn't doing too poorly, though. He features in the top 10. Number 8 Havertz. And he plays at home to Fulham.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, he's to be fair, he's 0.54 for Havertz. It would be a hard sell, actually. I'm using hard sell in 2 different ways. It's kind of irritating me. I'm going to stop saying it. Just give me a slap if I say it. Nonto is the one, though. He's Twitter's darling of the double game week.
Yeah, he is.
It's when FPL Twitter's at its beautiful place, when everyone's just like, yeah, Nonto, beautiful, 5 million, let's go. The stats aren't incredible. 0.31 XG non-penalty per 90. Conversion rate of 9%, which is low. Shot per 90 of 2.31. That's not in the top 10 of forwards, for example. Points per 90 of 3.15. Not that high. Plays United away. But who cares? He's 5 million. It's a double game week. Let's go.
Yeah, it all comes down to how you set your squad up. Like, what formation are you playing, and where do you want your 8th attacker? Is your 8th attacker an Andreas Pereira, a 4.5 mid, or is it a budget forward? For me, the Nonto form, he caught my eye before the World Cup, and someone in the chat has just said, oh, great, we're going to get a 10-minute monologue from Gianni because he's an Italian player. I'll keep it to 60 seconds. But pre-World Cup, he was getting some game time, but wasn't starting. He was eased in. Post-World Cup, I just wanted to see him getting 90 minutes and starts. Well, he's had loads of them. In the 5 games post-World Cup, he's played 90 minutes in 4 of those 5. He feels as nailed as any Leeds attacker right now. And he's played in a variety of roles. Like, he's been playing a lot of sort of wide left, but he can play behind the forward. He can even play it. It's not his best position, but he has been played as the forward. And he also scored a worldie goal in the FA Cup against Cardiff, I think it was. It was Paolo Di Canio style volley. I think he got 2 in that game. So his data would be way better if we were looking at FA Cup data too. It's a fun pick. I don't think I'll be getting him, but I like the idea of those that are.
So the good things about Nonto are he's 5 million. So he's cheap, and if you take your money out of someone else, that lets you push money up into Fernandes, for example. Ferguson's injured, we think now, given that Fabinho tackle, so he's probably the cheapest kind of starter that we've got. It's a tough double though. Nottingham Forest away, that's tough. They're so good at home, Forest, and then United away, that's not easy. But the good things about him, in 25, when we're losing Newcastle and Brighton players, he's got Southampton at home, good fixture, and in 28 he's got Wolves away, which is a good fixture as well. So he'll come into his own in those 2 games, you would have thought, when we need him. So he's a bit of a long-term hold. I just wouldn't be expecting too much from him this week.
Yeah, it's fair. I could see Mark in the chat has just joined, and yes, Mark, you have missed the Jorginho chat. I was, the likes of Sachin were absolutely loving it.
That's ironic. I'm about to add him now. There you
go. But you've joined for the Nonto chats. There you go.
Yeah, second best. Well, actually, while Mark's here, Mark owned Weghorst last season, didn't he? I'm sure many people did. He's bottom of all forwards in his 2 appearances in terms of actually non-penalty per 90. 0.07. So if anyone's out there and they're thinking, let's take a punt on Wout Weghorst, don't. Just the data does not support that. And now watch him go and get a hat-trick, which is normally how these things work. Right, let's quickly, before we look at predictions and things, look at the United options and triple captain. So this is United options. Anthony is on here, but mostly we're just looking at Rashford versus Fernandes, I think. I think Rashford is going to have an EO of crazy high, but Fernandes is going to be one of the most bought players in this week. So basically Rashford is beating Fernandes across the majority of metrics. More touch in the box, more shots, double the shots in the box, 6 big chances compared to 1, a better accuracy, more points, more touches in the box, more big chances. All of those things are good, and most importantly, a better minutes per point of 8.47 compared to 6.51, and a better XGI non-penalty per 90 of 0.72 to 0.53. Now, a couple of things about Fernandes, though. His chances created obviously really high, as you'd expect with him. He's a creative genius. What I want to point out to him is look at his baseline bonus per 90, 14.86. Rashford's is 1.1.
Wow.
Basically, what that means is if Fernandes gets anything, he's almost certainly going to get 3 bonus.
Yeah, and we still don't know about penalties because last time they were both on the pitch together, Rashford did take it, but I think he was on a hat-trick and it was like the 90th minute. And I think there's some fan footage of the two of them having a conversation, like Rashford's going, can I have it? So Bruno could still have penalty appeal, but the baseline's super impressive. And we do know this with Bruno in years gone by when we've all owned him, thinking back to 18 months ago. He just needed an assist and you were like, 3 bonus. And the baseline's super high because he picks up so many points in the middle of the park there. I do wonder how Eriksen being injured affects Bruno and affects United in general. At the moment, we've seen Eriksen on some of the set pieces with Luke Shaw. So Bruno will pick up some more set pieces. So that's good for him. But I just want to know about that midfield balance and Bruno's responsibilities in that midfield with Eriksen perhaps being replaced by, say, a Fred. And I definitely think United will lose something in the middle because the 3 of Casemiro, Eriksen and Bruno was working so well. It's had everything. But look, he's the standout option if you want to complement Rashford with someone. Would I be looking to, say, captain Bruno if I own Bruno and Rash? I wouldn't even be considering it because Rashford's just flying at the moment.
I agree. But there is a little bit of part of me that looks at that baseline bonus. It's a weird way to look at it, but I just think if he gets a goal in both games, which he could well do, given he's got 2 decent home games, a goal is almost
a 10-pointer.
Is almost worth 8. Yeah, is a 10-pointer in both. Whereas Rashford maybe needs a bit more, but then Rashford is a player in form. I don't know. I think Fernandes isn't being considered as a captain option at all. I haven't seen anyone with the armband, and I'm sure there'll be people in the chat and watching this video. Absolutely. I don't think it's a terrible option, given it's a 1 game week, double game week, and we see these swings.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I kind of like it, but I'll probably stick it on Rashford. But if you're going to go for Fernandes, I think there are some signs, especially if you think he's on pens as well, because we don't know that.
Yeah, the pen's really interesting. The fact that Rashford took the last one, but then you add in all the jeopardy of the points I mentioned. We haven't spoken about column 3 here, Anthony.
For podcast listeners, we haven't spoken about it because he does not beat Rashford or Fernandes on any stats.
No, it looks really bad. But this is Premier League stuff. And the cup game, the last cup game, literally 3-4 days ago, he looked bright, Anthony. And look, I can't afford someone like a Bruno. And I still think you can play the fixtures and go, if you can't reach Bruno and you want that third United asset and you're selling an Almiron, for example, you can still go for Casemiro, you can still go for Anthony because the fixtures are there for one cheeky return. and the 4 minutes points, it's an easy 7-8 pointer. I think Anthony's got a return in him.
Really trying to talk yourself into this, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Honestly, I'm backing that Ten Hag knows what he's doing, and he's paid crazy money. Was he 80, 90 million? He's going to come good, and at some point he's going to come good. And I like the fact of I could be on this player when no one else is. That's the fun of FPL, right? It's the bragging rights with your mates when you pick a differential that no one else has got. And knowing I'm only looking for a 1 week punt with Man United midfield anyway, because I want Odegaard or Saka, I think I might go there.
I'm excited to see. Ending up with Anthony and Havertz. Wow, that would be exciting.
Is this data good enough for you to triple captain Rashford or Bruno?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, Gianni, because that leads us beautifully on to our final section before we get into the predictions. And this is who to triple captain. So you mentioned it earlier. For me, if you've still got the chip and you haven't used it like you did a few weeks ago,
8 points. Thank you, Haaland.
I think it's quite obvious that it's either Rashford this week or Haaland next week. I don't think we're going to get a better option than this. City have still got them to play for. They've got this massive game against Arsenal and a good-looking home game against Villa. In that, I think Rashford's got the 2 home games. I think you could save it, but I don't know what else you'll want. Like it's either you go for Rashford with these 2 home games where he could hit big scores in both, or you go for Haaland, who's almost certainly going to play both of these games and is Haaland. So yeah, to me, it's between them both. Looking at the stats, probably no surprise since the restart, Haaland is top of basically everything. XG non-penalty per 90, Haaland's is 0.94 compared to Rashford's 0.72. Minutes per points, Rashford's actually higher, but they're both around the 8 mark. XG per shot, which again indicates how good the chances are. Haaland's better, 0.24 compared to 0.19. You could argue that Haaland's actually underperformed from what we've seen him do in the past. I mean, I know he got the hat-trick against Wolves, but before that, there was some question marks being around. But look at that, big chances, 13 for Haaland. Rashford's had 6. So more than double the big chances. He has nearly double the shots in the box. Touching the box is about the same. Anyway, the stats basically point to Haaland as being the better option. The big difference is the fixtures, though. I mean, I've highlighted the blue and the red here, so you can see. So City have obviously got Arsenal and Villa. Arsenal, one of the best defences in the league. You'd expect that to be quite a cagey game, given that Arsenal just don't want to lose it. If they can get through that with a draw, they'll be happy. Villa are a funny side. That could be an absolute spanking. Who knows? But they're kind of mid-table. But the United fixtures are good. Palace are 15th since the restart, conceding 1.58 non-penalty per 90, and Leeds are 19th, so even worse, 1.77. You'd expect United to score goals in both of those games. You'd expect Rashford to be involved because he's their best player, arguably the best player in the league in terms of form at the moment. It is a really tough one, I think. I can't decide. I had it on triple captain on Rashford until today. I've taken it off him. But I don't know. I like these 2 home games for United. What do you think? Sorry, I've been rambling on for ages, but
no, you're thinking out loud, mate. That's the beauty of it. I don't know. It's a good spread. Saturday, Wednesday, the United double. So and they're both homes. There's no travel time in there. Saturday, Wednesday is a good time to go. Yeah, Rashford should be good value for 180 minutes. Haaland, for example, plays. I think it's Sunday, Wednesday, with the Champions League round the corner as well. We've just seen against Wolves, he got 61 minutes. He got a hat-trick in that game. I don't know. What do you think in terms of minutes you're going to get from Haaland? You're probably going to take 130, 140. You could get 120. He's going to start both. So, look, 120 of Haaland or 180 of Rashford, taking into account these stats, is it still a debate? I still think it is. I think I would still go 120 minutes of Haaland. But that's just because United are a team that I perhaps don't trust in the same way I trust Man City. And perhaps I don't trust Rashford like I trust Haaland, who is just... we haven't seen a player in FPL probably like Haaland yet. It's hard to say after 6 months, but I don't think we have. So for me, it would be Haaland. I'd be waiting, but I completely understand those that want to go Rashford. Also, United just struggled against Crystal Palace. I know that was at Selhurst Park. That was only 2-3 weeks ago, wasn't it? But the Leeds game's got goals. If you go in Rashford, it's because of the Leeds game. Leeds versus United, that's going to be 2-2, 3-3, isn't it?
It's a really tricky one because I think Haaland starts both, obviously, and I'm not too worried about his minutes because he's going to play the 90 against Arsenal, or at least 80 against Arsenal. I mean, it's the Villa game, but he's only going to get subbed off in the Villa game if they're like 3-0 up. And if they're 3-0 up, he's probably scored all three. So it's a really... That Villa game for City is really, really appealing because they're at home for it and we know what they're capable of at home. I just think across the two games, I would probably expect United to score more goals.
Yeah.
Because I think they could get 2 against Palace, and I think they could get 3 potentially against Leeds. I can't remember what I've gone for in the predictions, but that could happen. Whereas I'm expecting the Arsenal game to be a lot cagier. We could debate this all night. I don't know what the answer is. I think Rashford has the potential for a bigger haul than Haaland, which
higher ceiling,
which is difficult to say with Haaland. But I think with that Arsenal game being so difficult, I think you're banking on Haaland getting those points against Villa, whereas I'd expect Rashford to get something against Palace, and then I'd be really confident with him going against Leeds as well.
What's your percentage chance then? Are you 50-50 or are you 60-40 one way or the other?
60-40 Rashford, I think.
Yeah.
60-40 Rashford, but I don't know.
Look, there's also, we haven't spoken about Rashford getting an extra point every clean sheet and an extra point every goal. They do add up when comparing a midfielder and a forward.
That's very true.
Stating the obvious, I know, but it's what over 2 weeks. It really. Also, Haaland, could he get a 59 or sub 60 in one of them? Strong possibility.
It's amazing that you go into this. You look at the points. Say points was your only kind of metric. They've had 46 points since the restart each. Exactly the same. Doesn't help at all. But Haaland has just had the hat trick. I think it's really tricky. I'm leaning towards Rashford for it, just given that it's 2 home games, and I think United win both. But it could change. Anyway, that's probably not very helpful.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
Let us
easy
know.
decision this week for those that are at least looking to captain. I think the world and their dog are going to captain Rashford, whether you got triple captain or not.
Well, exactly, and they're going to captain Haaland the week after. So
Yeah.
But like I keep saying, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because the triple captaincy is only worth the points that player gets. So
Yeah, my advice to anyone not sure is don't stress too much about it. Like, in my opinion, the other chips are worth a little bit more stress.
Yeah.
But triple captain, it's left or right, it's X or Y. It's one of these 2 weeks. I wouldn't be holding it further than this. And just back your instincts on it. It's not a big deal.
I would be very surprised if there's a 20-point difference between Haaland and Rashford, for example, over these 2 weeks, because it's so close and tight between them. I wish we knew. If we knew 100% that Rashford was on penalties, that would really help, I think, because it would be very frustrating if you triple captain Rashford and then Fernandes steps up and takes it. I think Rashford's got him, personally, but yeah. That's not what a lot of people in the chat are saying, that they think it's Fernandes. Anyway, let us know. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments whether you've used a chip like Gianni, whether you're going to be using it on Rashford, whether you're going to be using it on Haaland, or if you are going to go against everything I'm saying and you're going to wait and see. Use it on something else.
There's tons of doubles to come, both big and smaller doubles. Obviously, the bigger doubles will be looking at wildcards and free hits and bench boosts, but there will be other smaller doubles later in the season.
Yep. Right, predictions. Let's move on to these. Mark, as you're watching, you need to send me your predictions because you haven't, which was...
I love that I get to have a go at this.
You get to have a go at this.
I watch it every week and go, oh no, I think it's going to be 2-1. There I am. I'm actually adding to it.
The aim is 50%, which is about what Mark and I get every season. Last week, we both got 50%. We both predicted 5 outcomes out of 10. Mark got 2 correct scores. I got 1. Mark is beating me overall with outcomes, 53.3%, which is the highest we've ever had it. So he's doing very well. I'm on 49.5. I need to get up a little bit more. I'm getting 10% correct outcomes, which is quite good. Mark's on 9. So yeah, about 50% and about 10% correct scores. That's about where we've been at for about 3 years doing these. So let's see how you go. We need to create like a guest league to see, like they do on BBC Sport, where they like.
Yeah. Although you don't want to be shown up, mate.
Well, you get shown up anytime a guest comes on, Gianni. You do. I think you're having a stellar episode, actually. Very insightful.
Yeah, and guys, if you are enjoying the episode or you like even my appearance on, please hit that like button. Show us your support.
Very good. And actually, we can reveal that we are in talks for a regular feature on BlackBox of you and I.
Exclusive.
Hoping that we can do something which is like kind of once the games are finished, like on Monday morning or Tuesday morning, you and I can just jump on BlackBox 20 minutes and just chat about what we've seen and early thoughts and stuff like that. So again, if that's something people would be interested in, let us know. And if you're not interested in
drop a comment.
We're probably going to do it anyway.
This is not to replace Mark, anyone. For those thinking, oh no, is this going to be this would be an additional show. So yeah, pretty cool.
An additional little show. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so predictions, Game Week 22. So we talked about Chelsea and all their new signings. I've gone for a 1-0 Fulham. You've gone for a 2-0. So both backing comfortable Chelsea wins.
We're going Chelsea clean sheets as well, mate, which seems to be becoming a thing. And Reece James is back training soon, so we might be investing in Reece again in the not too distant.
Yeah, I mean Fulham. I still can't believe when I look at the league table that Fulham are 7th. It's an unbelievable season for them.
Yeah.
They're just effective, aren't they? They've got Mitrovic and they've got a side that plays well, but I kind of just keep thinking that bubble's going to burst. I think they will create problems against Chelsea. Mitrovic is going to relish playing against those centre-backs, but Chelsea should have enough.
Because this round of fixtures was played a few weeks ago, we know what some of these fixtures were like in the reverse. And Chelsea-Fulham was the game João Felix made his debut and got sent off. And Chelsea were looking like the better team. They really were. And then the João Felix red and Fulham, I think, had just completely ran the game from then on. But until that point, Chelsea were looking fairly comfortable. So for me, I think I can see Chelsea dominating this football match again. Home advantage matters.
Yep. Everton, Arsenal. I've gone for a 2-0. You've gone for a 1-0 Arsenal. You're thinking a cagey one then. You're thinking the Dyche effect comes in.
I think it will be, mate. I just think, and I don't know if new manager bounce is a thing, but for Sean Dyche, I just feel like he'll be, let's set the priorities up early. What are the priorities? This team needs to stop leaking goals. It's far easier when a new manager joins a club to get that defence improved than it is to get your team to score goals. So managers often start from the back and work their way forward. So Sean Dyche, we know what he's going to do. He's going to have them on lockdown. And we know Dyche ball, it's a 4-4-2, but it's a very defensive, rigid 4-4-2 and narrow. And I think that Everton back line, will be much improved. But they are going up against, we've seen the stats earlier, the league's best attack by a country mile. So, look, I think I might be selling a Martinelli, for example, this week and going without Arsenal attack for 1 week only, which feels like a risk. But I'm back in Dyche. I think it'll be cagey.
Interesting appointment, Dyche.
I don't know what the length of contract is, but I hope they haven't committed to a long-term deal because surely they only want him to stay up and they're not interested in a long-term Dyche ball. But good appointment to keep them in the league, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Burnley sacking him was interesting, wasn't it? Given all he'd done for them and then they didn't stay up anyway. So he's clearly got something to prove. Again, I look at their team and I can't see how they're going to stay up. I don't like it. They're too unbalanced and they haven't got any real winners, any real match winners in the side. Lost Gordon as well, weaker. I don't know. I still think they're going to go down, unfortunately. Yeah. Villa Leicester. I've gone for a Villa win here, 2-1. You've gone for a 1-1. I mean, we're not really backing too many players in these. I mean, who have people got out of these? No one. Ward. That's about it, isn't it?
No, yeah. I mean, Maddison is back fit, which will be interesting in a couple of weeks, maybe, because he is just head and shoulders in that Leicester team, isn't he?
Ridiculous.
I know he's one of your faves. Yeah. I know he's one of your faves. And he'll be gone in the summer, won't he? But he's going to have a last few months at Leicester, and I've no doubt he'll be on our watch list soon.
Been linked to City today.
Yeah,
as well.
I saw that.
Keeps getting linked to Newcastle. He's going to get a big move, I think. He's too good for Leicester, unfortunately. Brentford, Southampton. I've gone for a 2-1 Brentford. You've gone for a 1-0.
Yeah, but it's good to see we're similar choices, similar. But I think Southampton having an away game again tonight, so they've had to travel to Newcastle. I think this isn't a team that's used to playing twice a week. So I think knowing it's a Saturday 3 p.m. slot, I think it's another away game as well for Southampton. I can't see anything but a Brentford win.
Nope, same. Brighton, Bournemouth, I've got a bit overexcited here. I think I've gone for 4-0.
We both went big though.
Yeah, both went big. You've gone for a 3-0. I just think we should win this comfortably. We are a better team than Bournemouth across the board. So we'll probably lose.
You're not captaining Matoma again, are you?
No, not with a double. Not with a double.
But you've got to expect something from Matoma in this game because he's been that good and the fixture's there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, why not? You know, I mean, the Leicester game was interesting. We just about scraped a draw in that. I thought we'd win that comfortably. And then we go off and play Liverpool and put in the kind of performance then. But Yeah, I don't know. I just think we should beat Bournemouth in this. Maybe 4-0 is a bit ambitious though. United Palace. I've gone for 3-0 United here. Which again, okay, they drew only a week ago, but this is a different game now. This is at home. Palace have got some injuries as well.
You're going for.
They didn't have Casemiro.
You really
in that game,
do like United at the moment, don't you? Like you've gone 3-0 and then you've gone 2-0 for the Leeds game. So you're going United in the double game week to score 5 and concede 0. And you're considering triple captain Rashford and you're buying Bruno. So you're very pro United at the minute.
Good team.
I don't know. I'm not so pro United, but maybe that's just me because I never really am. I think they beat Crystal Palace, but I don't think it's a gimme.
I get slated week after week after week for not like it's nothing to do with my hatred for United. I was a boyhood United fan, in fact. Ten Hag has got them playing well. They've got a good team. They've got an identity. I like what I'm seeing from them, and I think Palace and Leeds are 2 good fixtures for them. So I've gone quite hard, but I've got to because I'm tripling up. And going for it. I tell you, my transfers are interesting because I'm actually having to sell a United player to make the transfers that I want.
Okay.
But I'll still end up with 3 United players. So there you go. You can try and work out what that is. Wolves Liverpool. Well, this probably would have been the Garden Centre game if they were playing at a TV time, but it's not. I've gone for a 1-0 Liverpool. You've gone for a 0-0.
Yeah, I think this might be a bore draw. Both these teams at the moment are struggling to score goals. Like Wolves really struggle to score goals, and at the moment it's a tough fixture for Liverpool because of the way they've been playing. So yeah, I think this might be a Garden Centre game. I've seen some comments. So yeah, 0-0 for me. I won't be watching this one, and it is a 3 o'clock. It's not a TV game. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Well, the Garden Centre game I've gone for is the Newcastle West Ham game, which is on Sky Sports at 5:30. I've gone for a 2-0 Newcastle. You've gone for a 1-0.
Garden Centre's closed by that time, though.
Yeah. Some of them open till 6, so if you get in there early. Yeah, that's true though. But yeah, I don't know. It's literally. I mean, it's not going to be a lot of FPL involvement. No one's got West Ham players.
Yeah, we just want a clean sheet, don't we?
If you just want the clean sheet, exactly.
I think a load will be selling Almiron. If they've still got Almiron, and look, loads do, I think Almiron's like 40% owned. And when I sold him last week, I was a little bit nervous because I was very conscious he was in everyone's starting 11 still. But I've seen his price drop once, if not twice, in the last week or 2. So I'm guessing that ownership's going to shoot down. And I think loads will want to move to Matoma. Some might want to move to a United mid like a Casemiro or an Anthony. I don't know. I don't think I'll be worried about not owning Almiron this week. But yeah, Newcastle clean sheet's always nice. But if you just own Trippier, it never feels nice anymore because his EO is always around 100. So you have to have double. You have to have a Pope or a Botman or a Shah. And I'm looking forward to getting to the point where I can own that second Newcastle defender.
Yep, agreed. Forest Leeds next big game for Forest. They've been so good at home lately. I've gone for a 1-1. You've gone for a 2-2.
Yeah, I think there's goals. Look, Forest home form's decent, isn't it? Like Mark will tell us, it's their home form that's going to keep them up if they stay up. But I always back Leeds to score.
Same. Spurs City. Interesting game. Spurs against City. I mean, they were winning that game, weren't they, a few weeks ago, and then bottled it and lost it. They're at home this time. City losing Cancelo, bit of unrest. I've gone for a comfortable win, 2-0. You've gone for a 2-1.
Yeah, I think it might be. I went 2-1, but I still think City will look fairly comfortable. I think it'll be one of those where City are perhaps cruising 2-0 and Spurs get a goal, and then a bit like the reverse fixture.
It'd be really interesting to see what happens. I know we keep coming back to Cancelo, but you've got to think what's that going to do to the rest of the squad, because they're either going to be pissed off that they've lost one of their best players to Bayern, or they're going to rally around Pep, which I assume is what's going to happen, and be like, well, he was, causing a fuss, causing a stink, wasn't playing well, and we're putting faith in other players. So I'm imagining it's going to be that, and we might see a reaction. So interesting.
Yeah, I've read one of those gossip column sort of comments about a week ago saying some senior players at Man City are annoyed at Pep for not being in the 11 often, and it mentioned Cancelo. I didn't ever think, this means he's going to leave, but it mentioned Cancelo and it mentioned Bernardo Silva. And again, Bernardo's another one that's not been walking into the 11. No. He's been playing Gundogan a lot. And again, like Bernardo and Cancelo, both Portuguese lads, probably very close. And I wonder if there's some sort of click there. Maybe you could even argue Ruben Diaz as well, a fellow Portuguese. And I don't know if I'm clutching at straws here, but I do wonder if they're all a little bit disgruntled, and they'll be annoyed that their mate's gone off to Germany now. So yeah, I'm going to monitor that Bernardo
Foden
situation.
as well. I mean, what is going on with Foden? Is he going to be happy just playing a bit part with the talent?
I mean, Foden before the World Cup, when we all bought him, he started 1 in 5, didn't he, in the Premier League?
It's very interesting. I mean, if we've seen managers, high-profile managers, do this in the past. Conte's done it, Mourinho's done it, kind of alienating players a bit and kind of forcing them out a little bit. My sense is that Pep knows what he's doing because he's, arguably the greatest manager of all time. But that's a couple of players now who I think there's going to be a bit of unrest with. It'd be interesting to see how he kind of manages that. Going forward. So yeah, interesting. It's big game for both clubs. And then finally, it's United v Leeds. I've gone for 2-0. You've gone for 2-2. It's exciting.
Yeah, this game's always got fire. This is Leeds' biggest game, this. And it's a big game for United. There's history there. Yorkshire, Lancashire. I don't know. I'm not so hot on United, maybe, at the moment. Clearly. And so? Leeds are always loads of fun, aren't they? So I hope it's 2-2. The smart money is on United, of course, and perhaps your favourite there with your 2-0 prediction. My father-in-law's a Leeds fan, so I've got a little bit of a soft spot for him because I know he's so happy to see him back in the Premier League, and he's so big on Leeds doing well. He's playing FPL for the second season ever, and for him and his Premier League experience, I always want Leeds to do well. So maybe that's my heart rule in my head.
Yeah. Interesting one. I mean, it's the defensive data for Leeds that's so poor. They're going to have to score goals, and I haven't been too impressed with them attacking wise either. But maybe McKennie comes in and strengthens them, and we see. Yeah, again, really, it's a really interesting game week. This, I think, there's a lot of games here that I like the look of. I like the Brighton game. I like the Everton, the Arsenal game. That's interesting. I like the double for United. I think the Spurs City game's interesting. Forest is an interesting game. Interesting is the word I'd use to describe it.
Yeah. Delia mentions about, I've mentioned Anthony, and it's a fair point. I'm not so hot on United, but here I am saying I'm probably buying Anthony. And I guess that shows, because if I was really hot on United, I'd be bringing Bruno in. But to bring Bruno in, I need surgery. And I'm not willing to go there, and I'm not willing to sell De Bruyne for it. I've still got United here to score 3 goals.
Yeah.
Over the both fixtures.
Anthony, just fascinating. I wasn't expecting you to say him.
I mean, I'm not sold on the Anthony move, but that's the move I'm looking at.
You can't come on BlackBox and talk about Anthony for a whole episode and then not get him. That's it goes.
As we've both been on the FPL show and talked about transfers we've not made.
Well, no, not after Lee got in trouble.
I know, yeah. So we were briefed, weren't we?
Yeah. If you're not going to bring someone in, don't bloody say that you're going to bring him in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor old Lee. Right, Captain Matrix. I haven't got all the captain data because I pretty much presented that in the United Options section, because I think I have got Haaland in the primary candidates, but realistically I think we're all going to be going for Rashford or maybe Fernandes. I just think that's how it's going to be. I mean, you could go for Notto if you really fancy someone different, or De Gea. Saka's there at Everton. They're the kind of 6 that I've picked out, but I think it's hard to build a case against Rashford or Fernandes. Game week 23, I mean, it gets less interesting now because I think we're all going to go Haaland in game week 23 for the double. Saka's there, differentials, Mahrez, then Nketiah, but you're probably going to stick on Haaland. And then it's Haaland versus Forest. You're going to go for him. He got a hat-trick against them early in the season. And then it's Haaland versus Bournemouth in 25. So I think, unfortunately, our next 4 captains are pretty easy picks. Rashford and then Haaland 3 times.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wish this was a conversation. I wish this was we were spending 10, 15 minutes on this slide. But this season, at the moment with these doubles, it really isn't needed this week, is it? And I hope next season and later in the season it becomes more interesting, because captaincy is such a major part of the game. Yeah. But yeah, not the moment.
Well, I tried to be clever, go for Matoma. He scored a goal, got 10 points. I thought, lovely stuff, and then he doesn't. And then he doesn't even match Haaland, who gets a hat-trick. So very dangerous to go against the top options. So yeah, we won't spend too much time on that. Let's take a look at our teams. So this is how I'm currently set up. I've got Kepa in goal, the double Newcastle defence, Trippier and Botman, and Shaw, who has been ill for a while, but might be all right, we hope, coming in. De Bruyne and Rashford, currently not triple captained. Odegaard, Matoma, Kulusevski, Haaland, Kane. Annoyingly, I've got Martial who's on the bench, but doesn't look like he's going to be ready.
But it'll probably feature over the double.
I don't think it's enough.
Yeah,
my bench is awful. I mean, my bench is Ward, Martial, Bruno, and Patterson, which isn't great. So what I'm thinking is Kulu to Fernandes, but to do that, I'd have to downgrade someone.
Yeah.
I was going to do Martial to Ferguson, but now he's done his Achilles.
Okay.
So I can't afford Notto. So the only way I can afford Notto is if I take a -8 and I do Shaw down to Martinez.
Ooh.
So that would basically get me Martinez, Fernandes, and Notto. The problem with Notto, though, is I don't know who I'd play him over.
Yeah.
Because I've got Kane, Haaland, De Bruyne, Rashford, Odegaard, and Matoma. So
that's why I said the Notto buy is all about, is he your 7th or your 8th attacker? And if he's coming in as your 8th attacker, you're going to have a benching dilemma every week. Your 8th attacker should ideally be a Greenwood or a Ferguson, or it's an Andreas Pereira, someone you can rely on in the blanks. I don't know. I mean, Leeds do play in the blanks, so that's a positive.
That's the
tone
kind
in
of
Nonto.
idea, but it's a similar position to you in which I can't get to Fernandes that easy. My other option is, I mean, I want to wait for news on Ferguson, or maybe I just get some fodder and just do Fernandes in, or I just keep Martial and hope he plays, but then don't get Fernandes. And I think Fernandes is a great differential this week. So all I know is I'm not selling De Bruyne. So that's definitely not happening.
Yeah.
And
you do want to sell Kulu, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you've got Kane as well. You don't want the Spurs double up.
The other thing is I want to get Saka in for the double, and I can't afford to do Kulusevski to Saka in a straight swap. So I need to free up some money from that. So, for example, if I do the Martial, Kulusevski and Shaw crazy move, then that means I could easily do Fernandes down to Saka next week.
You're in a bit of a pickle here, mate, because you're not going to have triple Arsenal or triple City for their double. Well, you are, because you'll buy one of them, but you're not going to have 6 players in that double either.
Unless I get in Lewis and someone else.
Is Bruno really worth this, mate? Because you could be saving some of these moves to get Rico Lewis and Nketiah, or Rico Lewis and Nketiah and Saka.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, you could argue not. I mean, if I do Martial to Nketiah, like some people are saying, then I can't afford Saka. And Saka, I think, is really important for that double. I don't know.
You've got options. Do you know what? This is really interesting for FPL at the moment, because so many teams have got 10 different avenues they could go down. There is no obvious move here for your team. No. We've all got different thoughts. The chat's really useful. Some good suggestions in there. But there is no obvious one here, because bringing Bruno in isn't obvious for your setup. Knowing you're not willing to sell De Bruyne, it's surgery.
I mean, the option. I mean, I could do Martial to Nketiah and get him in place for the double.
But then who'd you bench if you got Nketiah in your squad? You bench Kulusevski.
Yeah, I bench Kulu.
But then would you have the funds to go Kulu to Saka next week? No.
So then I'd have to take a hit anyway. I don't know. It's tricky. Thank you for all the comments. Let me know what you think I should do. I'm not really sure. I want Fernandes. That's the key thing.
Selling Kane would be... Yeah, Souvening's just said, look, Kane to Nketiah, Kulu to Bruno. If you're willing to sell Harry Kane...
Yeah. Am I willing to sell Harry Kane? No, that's a good option. I hadn't really thought about selling Kane, actually.
His fixtures are really good after City, though, aren't they?
Oh, it's Leicester in 23. He loves a goal against
Leicester. He loves a goal against Leicester.
Yeah, that is an option, though. I could sell Kane. Kane to Nketiah to Bruno. I do quite like that.
Yeah, but in 26 he is Wolves, then Forest, then Southampton, then Everton. He goes on an unbelievable run of fixtures.
Sell Kane. Everyone says in the chat, sell Kane. I hadn't thought about that. Interesting. I will consider it. Thank you, everyone. Let's take a look at your team. You've got Kepa in goal, Trippier, Shaw and White. De Bruyne, Martinelli, Rashford currently... Oh, it has to be single captain. You haven't got the triple anymore. March, you've got Kane, you've got Haaland, and you've got Havertz, and you've got Ake, Andreas and Patterson on your bench. What are you thinking?
I am thinking... I'm thinking Martinelli out. And the reason I'm willing to sell Martinelli is I want to upgrade him to Odegaard or Saka. So
you got money in the bank?
Yeah, I've got 1.2, 1.3 in the bank. I've got enough. This is my top line thoughts. Martinelli to Anthony. Anthony to either Odegaard or Saka next week, and Havertz to Nketiah. So Havertz to Nketiah allows... I've still got enough money in the bank to upgrade that Martinelli-Anthony slot to Saka if I want to. So I could have Saka or Odegaard next week. It'd mean taking a 4-point hit for the third Arsenal asset next week. Happy to do that for the double. I'd love Bruno this week, but I'm not willing to sell Kane and I'm not willing to sell De Bruyne. So, yeah, there I am. The other option is I leave Martinelli where they are. I go with just 2 United. Or if we think Martial was going to be out, and I think he's returned to training, I could go Havertz to say Weghorst. If I thought Weghorst was going to start both in the double, I could have a punt on Weghorst. But I definitely, and that would be 1 week only, and then it'd be Weghorst to Nketiah. But no, I think I'm going to sell Martinelli, mate. I think I'm done with him. I sold Almiron last week, which felt a little bit earlier than most, and I think I'll be selling Martinelli earlier than most. But knowing Arsenal's run of fixtures, being on the right Arsenal assets is so important. And I still don't know if it's Saka or Odegaard, but I know it ain't Martinelli. It's one of those two.
I think Martinelli to the sideways move is just, it makes sense because they are better options than him, unfortunately, with Trossard coming in. So you think, oh, I'll just keep him, but actually you're going to lose out in the long run because the options are better, I think. Really tricky one, though. I don't know. I look at your team and I don't really know what I do. I look at my team. I don't really know what I do.
It's not obvious. Easy. I've only got 1 free transfer as well. Loads have got 2. Loads saying sell Havertz.
Fulham.
I don't know. This is my Chelsea bias. It's the home advantage to Fulham and the Friday night football. I want to watch that game and I want to be invested. So Havertz is going to stay another week. Also penalties.
Can you just promise me one thing, Gianni?
I won't buy Weghorst.
Thank you.
I'd need to be told that he's going to get 180, going to start both. And I'm not sure he does. So, yeah, there we go.
Weghorst hat-trick confirmed off the back of this. Mark, if your moves are, what you're thinking. So, do let us know.
Yeah.
Oh, my thing's frozen. Can you see the screen? My whole computer's frozen.
Yeah, you are frozen.
Oh, I'm back. That was weird. Anyway, it says... Are we still on? Still live? Yeah, it says live. Encoding overloaded. What the hell does that mean?
Oh, wow.
Maybe Mark can tell us. Everything's broken.
There we go. You're back. We're back.
That was weird. I don't know what happened there. I've never seen that happen before. Hopefully we're back. Can everyone hear us? Frozen? We back? It came with a huge error in the middle of my screen saying encoded overloaded, and I have no idea what that means. Back. Okay, well, we're nearly done anyway. This is Mark's team. It's Kepa in goal. It's Trippier, Estupinian, Shaw and Ake, Rashford, Salah, Saka, Odegaard, Haaland, Nketiah. He's benching Mitrovic. He's benching the new Spaniard, Doherty, and Andreas. And he's benching Ederson as well, which never quite feels right. But it's a strong team. I mean, Mark. I don't think Mark's in the chat anymore, but I imagine he's doing Salah to Fernandes.
It's such a simple move, and I know he's being a bit different in recent weeks and wants differential moves, but that one feels obvious, doesn't it? Has he got 1 transfer or 2?
I think he's got 1.
Okay, yeah. So that feels obvious, and he's well set for next week because he's got the 3 best Arsenal.
Yep.
And he's got already 3 City in place, so he's got 6 over the double.
Yeah, and he's going to be happy with Ake and Cancelo's. Stones is injured, Cancelo's gone. He's got to be confident of a couple of starts for Ake. So. Yeah, I think he's in a good position. Surely Salah to Fernandes is the easy move, but maybe he's got something more exciting on his team. A few people saying that my stream rejected you mentioning Weghorst.
Yeah, I love that. I saw that comment. Love that.
Which is excellent. BlackBox leagues. So shout out to Mark Bleakley, who is leading the BlackBox league. We've got Andrew Shaw in second, Tom Epidali. Sorry for butchering all these names, in third. Sveinung Arneson in fourth. Aidan O'Driscoll in fifth. Hayden Gray in sixth. Tom Brazillo in seventh. Tejas Droshi in eighth. Ali Yangagirov in ninth. And Chris Glover in 10th. If you're not signed up to the BlackBox League, please join. The code is 3V7DQ9. We'd love to win that again, like we did last year, which was great. But yeah, congratulations to everyone in the top 10. Having absolute...
Some good ranks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Putting us to shame in the great and the good. I mean, look at these 10.
Oh, no. Well, let's see how high up the top guy actually is. I think he's in the top 10K. Top 1K, sorry. He is...
1436
Mark
is going to be...
Yeah. He is 23rd in the world. Wow.
Yeah.
Fair play, Mark. Keep at it. Absolutely flying. And a 25-point gap in the black box as well. Mark is in the chat. He says he's doing Salah to Bruno. What a surprise. We called that. Beautiful. Right. Gianni, you have been absolutely fantastic.
I've loved it, mate. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for all those in the chat with all your great comments throughout the last couple of hours. Like, you've kept us going, provided entertainment, and yeah, I was delighted to get the call up, mate. As I said, I'm a big fan of BlackBox, so to come on for my first guest appearance was awesome.
And it's way past your bedtime with the baby, so
mate, I've actually got, funny story, I've got Ed, not many some will know Ed, I've got Ed outside my house going, can you let me in?
Amazing. Well, you didn't even let him in, just didn't put a key behind the mat or anything.
He said the door's locked. I said, just let yourself in. I think Cam must have locked the door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, you better go let Ed in. Yeah, Gianni and I will be hopefully from next week doing our little 20-minute videos, which will be basically Monday or Tuesday, depending on when the games end. Thanks everyone in the chat. Please make sure you're liked and subscribed. Like the episode and subscribe to the channel as well. And we will see you all very soon.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
I need to find the credits button. Hang on. Still, there it is. Got it. Bye, everyone.